I've spent years as a paranormal investigator, but nothing prepared me for the horror I encountered at Harmony Haven. It was supposed to be a routine investigation, just another spa rumored to have strange occurrences. It wasn't until I stepped inside that I realized how wrong I was. Harmony Haven had been a luxury spa in the 1980s, a hidden gem nestled deep in the woods, promised peace, tranquility, and healing until people started disappearing. Rumors spread that the spa was cursed, that the land it stood on was tainted. It shut down abruptly after the last guest vanished, leaving only its dark history behind. I arrived just before sunset, my gear packed, and my team ready. The place was still, the only sound the crunch of leaves underfoot as we approached. The front door creaked open, and I stepped into a lobby that had been untouched for decades. The air was thick, suffocatingly humid. Felt wrong. We started our investigation with a few simple EVP sessions, asking questions, waiting for any sign of a response. At first, it was just static silence. But then we heard it, whispers. Low, almost unintelligible, but undeniably there. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Did you hear that?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. One of my team members, Sarah, nodded, her face pale. We played the recording back, amplifying the sound. The whisper was clear now. "Get out." We laughed it off nervously. After all, these things happen. Spirits are often territorial, but we dealt with it before. We continued our sweep, moving through the darkened halls, the air growing colder with every step. Something wasn't right, though. It felt like we were being watched, but every time we turned around, there was nothing, just the shadows. In one of the therapy rooms, things took a turn for the worse. The room was filled with old, rusted massage tables and cracked mirrors. As soon as we stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind us, and the temperature dropped to an unbearable freeze. Sarah gasped, her breath visible in the cold air. "What the hell?" she muttered, rubbing her arms. Suddenly, one of the mirrors shattered. Glass flew everywhere, and a high-pitched scream echoed through the room, but it wasn't from any of us. It was a scream that sounded like it came from someone, or something that wasn't human. I tried to keep my composure, but I could feel the growing dread sinking into my bones. The air was thick with malevolence, and the feeling of being watched was more intense now. Something was in that room with us, something angry. A cold wind blew through the room, knocking over equipment and slamming furniture against the walls. I fumbled for my camera, trying to capture evidence, but as soon as I hit record, the screen went black. Then Sarah screamed. I spun around just in time to see her being dragged backward by an invisible force. Her nails scraped against the floor, leaving deep gouges in the wood as she tried to fight it off. But there was nothing we could see, just the overwhelming sense of terror suffocating us. I grabbed her arm and pulled with all my strength, but the force was stronger. It yanked her out of the room and down the hallway, leaving us standing there in stunned silence. I ran after her, calling her name, but when I reached the hallway, it was empty. Sarah was gone. Panicked, I called the rest of the team to regroup, but one by one, they stopped responding. Every hallway I ran down seemed to stretch on endlessly, the walls closing in like a maze that was shifting and changing. It was as if the building itself was alive, trying to trap me. That's when I heard it. Footsteps behind me, slow, deliberate. I turned around, expecting to see one of my team members, but there was no one, just the empty hall. But the footsteps didn't stop. They grew louder, closer, until I could feel hot breath on the back of my neck. I bolted, running blindly through the spa, but no matter how far I ran, the footsteps followed me. I could hear faint whispers, voices overlapping, begging, "Help us, please. Don't leave us. Don't leave us here." Finally, I stumbled into what must have been the old therapy pool room. The pool was drained, the tiles cracked, but the sense of dread was overpowering. That's when I saw them, the faces. Dozens of faces, barely visible, pressed against the tiles of the pool. Their mouths open in silent screams, their eyes wide with terror. They were trapped, their spirits bound to the spa, unable to escape. And then, among them, I saw Sarah's face. Her eyes were empty, her mouth twisted in agony. I backed away in horror, but the floor beneath me gave way, and I fell, straight into the empty pool. My body hit the tiles hard, and everything went black. When I woke up, I was outside, lying in the grass, my gear scattered around me. I was the only one left. My team, they were gone. I never spoke about that night after I escaped. I left Harmony Haven, vowing never to return. But the whispers, they still haunt me. And sometimes, when the night is quiet and the wind blows just right, I can still hear Sarah's voice. "Don't leave me here.